The Green family, which owns Hobby Lobby and runs the business that's based on their deeply held biblical principles, objects to having to cover 4 specific drugs they believe can cause an abortion. The Supreme Court's going to begin hearing oral arguments on this case this week. Joining me is Joshua Hawley. He's Associate Professor of Law at the University of Missouri. He's also counsel to the Becket Fund for Religious Liberty, and they're representing the Green family. Joshua, thanks for joining me. And this case has so intrigued me because I do think it may be one of the most significant cases of religious liberty in recent memory. Why is it such an important case?
Well, Governor, it's an important case because this is about the right of every business owner in America to run his or her business according to their religious convictions and their deeply held moral beliefs. It's a time-honored constitutional tradition in this country, and that's what this case is about.
So this really isn't so much about contraceptives and abortion as much as it is the right of a business owner to exercise his or her belief on any subject and every subject. So would you say that that's a fair assessment, that it's bigger than just the contraceptive issue?
Oh, that's a very fair assessment. In fact, the Green family, who own Hobby Lobby, actually have long provided contraceptive coverage, Governor, in their health care plans. They provided health care to their employees well before the Affordable Care Act. And in fact, they don't have any objection to 16 out of the 20 forms of contraception that the government is mandating business owners cover. The only objection they have are to 4 drugs and devices that actually work by inducing an abortion. And it's the Greens' deeply held religious belief in the equal dignity of human life that prompts them to take that stand. And that's what this case is about. Can the Greens follow their religious convictions in their business, or do they have to agree with the government's moral principles in order to do business in America?
You know, Joshua, on 2 fronts, I think you just educated America in a way that they have not heard from the mainstream media. Number one, that long before there was an Obamacare, the Green family was already providing health coverage for their employees, thousands of them across the country. And secondly, they're not fundamentally opposed to contraceptives per se, but just the ones that would take the life of an unborn child.
Yeah, that's right. Just 4, Governor, out of 20 forms of contraception that are approved for sale in the United States. That's really the heart of the Greens' case. And again, it goes back to this fundamental American principle. You know, it's part of our free enterprise system and our constitutional tradition that when you start a business in America, you can run it according to your deeply held convictions. You know, businesses do this all the time. Just the other day, CVS Pharmacies said that they were going to quit carrying tobacco products. And why? Because it's against their social mission, they said. And Gap retailers recently announced that they were going to increase their starting wage for their employees for the same reason. Well, Hobby Lobby's no different. Hobby Lobby, the Green family, they want to run their business according to their convictions, according to their conscience, and they ought to be applauded for that, not penalized for it.
Well, they certainly should. One of the things that has been interesting to me is the courage of the Green family, because if they lose this case, they're out of business. I mean, they're just gone, because there's no way that they can afford the kind of penalties that have been racking up on them. So a lot is on the line when they go before the Supreme Court. You're going to have 45 minutes to argue your case in an oral argument before the Supreme Court. Give me some insight as to how you think this case is going to play out.
Well, we think that we have got a very strong argument, Governor, on the law and on the Constitution, and our case is very simple. On this important statute that's at the center of the case, called the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, it says that every American, every person, has a right to free exercise, and if the government substantially burdens that right, the government has to show a compelling interest to make the regulations stick. Well, the Greens' right to free exercise has been substantially burdened in this case, and the government just hasn't shown that they have a compelling interest. And here's one reason why. Do you know that the government has exempted so many businesses from this mandate that over half of the nation's workforce isn't even covered by the mandate? So the government really can't show that it has a compelling interest in making businesses pay for these 4 abortion-inducing forms of contraception when they've exempted almost half of the nation's actually over half of the nation's workforce from it. That's going to be the heart of our case. We feel good about it, and we think the Supreme Court is going to side with us.